Good morning. I want to get on here and do a kind of an update, put out a fire that I just started, and I apologize for that. But here's where we're at. So I had to do kind of a little project that I've been working on, and so part of it was I had to actually take this test, and I really didn't want to take the test. I'm not going to play their games, but in this situation, I had to kind of play by the rules, and I'll kind of wait for people to jump on here. So if you guys can hear me, please let me know. That's how we're going to get this message out to others. And obviously I want to obviously put to rest any kind of confusion that I might have caused, and I apologize for that. And basically I'm working on this project, and so part of the project was the requirement was for me to take this test. And obviously depending on what happens, I'm not going to comply with this law. And so I'm trying to figure out what that looks like for me in my life. And part of it, I was going to boycott this test in this class. And unfortunately for me, I had to, for part of this project that I'm working on, I had to take the class. And part of it was just for research purposes to kind of see, is this thing easy to get involved? Can people understand the curriculum, yada yada yada? And so that's why I took the test. And basically it took me less than an hour. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really really appreciate it. I hope everybody's doing good. And so I took this test, and it's not something that I wanted to do because I'm not in support of what they're trying to do, as you know. And so I took the test, and I had to pay the $60, so now technically I've gotten part of the process down. And, that being said, I'm not going to, this is as far as I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to have a permit to purchase. I'm not going to go into a database. I'm not going to, I'm not going to play by their game. We're going to have to litigate this. But unfortunately I had to do it just kind of, for research purposes. And that's why I did it. And I definitely believe it is an infringement, obviously. When in the guise of, they say it's a public safety thing, but it's not a public safety thing. If it was truly a public safety thing, it would not charge $60 for us to do something that is an online class. And so I took the class. So you guys can hear this, please let me know. And so it was, very wordy. It was lots of links, lots of Oregon revised statutes, lots of legal stuff, which I get it from a liability standpoint for the Oregon State Sheriff's Association. They were the platform that I used. Like, I get it. They got to put out a certain level of professionalism, but they also have to look at the crowd, right? Not everybody is going to, if the people are going to log in and do this thing, obviously there are people that they're going to do it out of protest. It should be a little bit easier for people to understand, and it should be not as wordy. It was really, really a horrible experience for me. And, and plus it cost me $60, but so I did it. So, you guys don't necessarily have to do it at this point. We're hoping it never has to go to that route. And, we have some things that are definitely working in our favor. And, obviously we have court that's coming up next month. It's going to be, let me look at my calendar. I think it's the 18th to the 25th ish. And as it gets closer, we'll dial everything in, because obviously whoever can be there, it's going to be great to see people there to help support, our side. It's probably, I don't think many red shirts will be over there. I think they're going to watch everything online. But if we can get bodies in the courtroom, just to show support for our attorney and, our side, and show the judge that this is something that's really, really important to us as gun owners. We've had a long year, and we've gone through a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of emotions. There's been a lot of anger. There's been a lot of frustration, and there's been a lot of money spent in this. And so, I think to put a face to this, I think would be a good thing. And so that's kind of where we're at. And so, hey, Chris, thanks, dude. Yeah. I look forward to seeing you, dude. And we're going to be there. We're going to show support for our guys, and make sure this thing just goes in the trash can where it belongs. And we just have to realize that if we are victorious here, this is going to be repealed. Okay. Yeah, it is. That's a Monday. It starts on a Monday. And so I'm going to be coming in hot from Centralia, Washington. I've got a crazy week that week. And so I'm going to be coming in Sunday night from Washington. And so I'm going to get there, and then, I'm going to be there Monday through Tuesday. And then I have to come back Tuesday night, and then Wednesday I pack and reset, and then Thursday I'm hopping a flight to Arizona. So I got a lot going on that week, and I know there's a lot of people that do too, but if you guys can be there, that'd be great. And that would help kind of making sure that we, keep good relevant information into the group, and we can set up where, figure out who's going to be there. You guys can take notes, and we can figure out how we broadcast that into the group so everybody kind of knows what's going on. And so, that's kind of where we're at. And Kevin, yeah, oh, don't be in a grave, please. And so that's where we have to understand. Absolutely, Kyle, 100%. And I know, we've been kind of quiet here. I mean, I haven't been doing all the updates, and I've been trying to do the stuff that I need to do professionally so I can keep going. So I haven't been as active here. So I really do like these updates. I really like communicating with you guys. I feel that, we gotta, keep the accelerator down, and we got to make sure that, cause they're going to come back, where I was going with the if we win, this will be appealed. This will be appealed to the Oregon State Supreme Court. They did put just another leftist, she has no judge experience, but she's going to fit this box where it's going to be increasingly more difficult for us to get the ruling we need in the Oregon State Supreme Court. That was one of Kotek's new appointees. She has zero trial experience, zero judge experience. And so that's a problem. And so, what this would happen is if we win, we're victorious. It's going to go to the Oregon State Supreme Court. Depending on what happens, it could be appealed again to another court, which would go to the Ninth Circuit, like what we're dealing with the federal court. This is my understanding. Obviously, I need to make sure everything, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it would go. And yeah. So Kyle, 100%, and a lot of it is we get busy. We work, we take care of our families. There's a lot of stuff, and it's easy for us to check out. And so when it's easy for us to check out, we don't get involved with the process. A prime example is what happened with the election, right? 180,000 of us stayed home, which gave us this garbage bill, and also gave us Kotek as the governor. And so, my fear is this going to happen again because of what happens with 2005. I'm already seeing the town halls. I'm already seeing these being scheduled. So now all the Democrats are coming out. Like I put a post last night about, the Moms Demand Action thing, where now they're celebrating this 2005. Okay. Problem is with 2005, they didn't get everything that they wanted. They got a little bit of what they wanted, but it's still a victory for them. And our side, the Republicans, that I don't know if you guys remember the photo op where they had this big check for $25,000 that in the memo line, it said lawsuit for 2005. Right. And so, where's that lawsuit? I've been asking, where's this lawsuit? What's happening? This thing has gone to effect. It is now the law. And why aren't we challenging this? This would be a slam dunk. I've already talked to the Second Amendment Foundation. They're aware. They've got a lot of other stuff going on. And so, basically we need standing. So that means somebody has to be, either arrested or charged with this before it's really going to help us and get things moving in the way we need it to go. But we need a sacrificial lamb. And I don't know about you. I don't feel like being a sacrificial lamb right now when it comes to, home built guns, so that's kind of something that we have to be aware of at this point, the way things are going. I know it's not a popular sentiment, but we have to fight these things in court. They cost money. They're very, very expensive, and they take resources and all this other stuff. But for us to get the precedents that we need, in regards to the Bruen decision, which is now the new gold standard when it comes to how these gun control cases are weighed, we have to sue. Yeah, we will continue to sue. and that's what we have to do, and so we have to kind of change our thought process here. Yeah, and yeah, thanks, Monty. Have a good day, man. And so that's kind of where we're at. Is we have to kind of understand, this is kind of the new norm for us. And obviously the new norm. Oh, here we go. Oh gosh. um Sorry, I chuckle a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I like that. Hunter Biden, yes, absolutely. We should all be held to the higher standard that Hunter Biden is. So if he is not going to be charged with a 4473 form crime, then we should all get a pass. That's the way it is. So if it's good for you, it should be good for all of us. So that's kind of where I'm at. So it's just the sad nature of the way things are going. But if we can get some wins like we need to get, their lanes are going to get a lot narrower, and they're not going to be able to maneuver and throw. They basically threw everything in the kitchen sink into this bill with Measure 114. And if we can start ripping bits and pieces out of it, now they're going to have only the sink to throw at us, and that's kind of my hope. And, obviously I'm pretty optimistic, and I know there's some that aren't as optimistic, but I try to stay positive about this stuff, because it's like, if we get defeated, right. And I want you to, if you can take one thing away from today's video, the moment that we get defeated mentally is when they win. Okay. So what I mean by that is when we become defeated and they control us, because our mindset, that's when we check out. That's when we say, oh, we're going to be a criminal. I might as well as not do this because yada, yada, yada. All these things, we don't get involved in the civics process. So there's all these things that happen when we give up and we surrender. And I think we're in a position now that we can no longer surrender. We have to stand up. We have to shoulder to shoulder. We have to push back. I had a comment last night from a guy in a post that I did here, that he said that he's just going to leave. And I think what's really, really important to realize is you can leave, but it's going to follow you. Like, it doesn't matter where you go, it's going to follow you. And so, this is the state that I grew up in. This is the state I've lived my entire life. My family lives. And so I'm not going to run. I'm going to stand and I'm going to fight. And so, we gotta do the same. We have to understand how we can be better at this and fight forward, and move to Texas. Well, Texas is going to be turning purple. They're working on like all of this stuff, and it's coming out of California. All the stuff, they've destroyed California. California is now unlivable. And so what they're doing is they're coming to Oregon, they're coming to Idaho, they're going to, Texas, they're going all over the country, and they're going into Montana. I saw something yesterday about how Montana is concerned about, and I have an interview on Thursday about how we prevent what happened here in Oregon and stop it from happening with potentially in Montana. And so it's a way to kind of sound the alarm there. So these people are watching it, and so, we don't have any place to run. Absolutely, Kyle. 100%. But we got to be smart. We got to be smart. Okay. And so, that's where we have to understand, an optics standpoint, the optics perspective. We have to understand, growing our base. We have to understand we do have common ground with people that don't identify as conservative or libertarians. I see a lot of stuff. My biggest pet peeve is when I see dumb rats or libtards or stuff like that in the group. That is my bit. Like, it makes my skin I boil, because that is a generalization. Obviously there's some that definitely are not going to be on our side that are Democratic. But there's some that are. And so we don't want to demonize them, because at the end we need their votes, right? We need them to come with us on this journey to help save our rights. And it doesn't mean we compromise. It means that we educate them to understand the importance of liberty in regards to self-defense and the way our lifestyles, and so that's why we got to get better at it. And I'm not trying to vent and rant too much, but it's just something to think about. If we can change the way we interact with people that are not like us, That's how we can build these bridges, and we need to build bridges right now because we need their votes. And so, oh, 100%, Chris, 100%. And what they've done here is we are the big experiment around the country. That's why they had with Measure 110. Now the truth is coming out with Measure 110, and so, you know, they're realizing that this was bad and this was a complete failure. They don't have the funding, they don't have the resources. All of these people are literally dying on the streets. And it was outside money. There's a nonprofit from New York that basically funded everything and the infrastructure, which got 110 on the ballot. And then what they did is they were misleading with the ballot title again, like what we saw with Measure 114, yada yada yada. Now we have decriminalization of most hard drugs, and we can all argue now, a couple years down the road, that this has been a complete failure, and put all of us in a position where our lives are in jeopardy when we're public, because we don't know who's mentally ill. We don't know who's on drugs. We don't know who's trying to physically accost us, rob us, women being assaulted, all sorts of different things. And so, that's, they did that with Measure 110. Measure 114 is another example of that, where, this was the testing ground. This was not written by Lift Every Voice Oregon. This is written by a pro group that's been doing this a long time, and that's why they put everything in the kitchen sink in that bill, and because they knew that we would bite, and we bit, and we lost by less than 1 percentage point. And so that's the problem here. Is this was it was a victory on their side, but are our voter rolls cleaned up? How do we know that 8 people in a single house didn't vote? There's so many different things that go into the fact that if you could prove beyond a reasonable doubt that we had a clean and fair election, which, it's been suspect for many, many years that it hasn't been since we had mail-in balloting, is, there's enough to prove that, we have a claim against, fraud, and less than 1% of a percentage point in a victory is not a resounding victory like they want to celebrate. So it's just bad stuff. And absolutely, it was about mass control. It's all about mouse control, and so the best thing that we can do is, obviously, is make this decision for yourselves and your family and what makes sense, right? So, does it make sense with the way things are and where you live? Does it make sense for you to restrict your magazine capacity to comply if Measure 114 goes into effect? Does it make sense? Does it make sense for you to put in a magazine that is going to be potentially illegal just so you can comply with an unjust law? And so that is a question that you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with your loved ones. Like if you have a partner, there's a lot of things, like when we're talking about the magazine capacity with Measure 114, basically every magazine in the state of Oregon that has a detachable base plate is going to be illegal. And so, you could carry a Glock 43, right? Glock 43 holds 7+1. Okay. In that magazine, it has a removable base plate. That would make this magazine illegal under Measure 114. And so many of those are very similar, and so while you're trying to think you're being compliant, the way the law is written, you're not compliant. And so you have to ask yourself, am I going to be law abiding, or am I going to be responsible? And so I can't answer that for you. I've made my decisions on what I'm going to do, and those are from my own personal opinion and for my life decision, and so it's nobody else's business, and I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm going to suggest that you understand obviously the risks, but at the end of the day, there's just going to be another law that they're going to try to pass that's going to take this much more from you, and then at the end of the day, you're never going to be law abiding. Okay. And so And that's what they want. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts is what it is. And so it's little bits and pieces. Obviously, we have to support good sheriffs that understand their oath to the Constitution, because under the Constitution, they're only the only law enforcement in the land that's actually supported and recognized under the U.S. Constitution. So we have to make sure that we have good sheriffs that understand the oath. Cody Bowen, Brad Lowry, those are great sheriffs that understand the oath that they took to serve and protect the public. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, no, I totally get it, Ryan. I totally get it, and there's many people that think like just like you, and I'm not saying that's wrong at all. I'm not 100% Ryan, and that's kind of where I'm at. Is you've put us all in a corner. You put baby in the corner, and so and what they're doing is it's basically a big social experiment, right? And I don't want to put too much of my tinfoil hat on here, but there's something that says, and I've seen the reoccurring theme where we're talking about globalization, the one world government. They want you to eat bugs. They want you to own nothing. I think there's some truth there. I think there's enough information out there in society that would prove that this is by design. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to put us in a position where it's like a rattlesnake that coils, right? So they're putting us in this position. When the rattlesnake coils, it coils to protect itself, and then it gives you the rattle, so it's there. It's angry, and then when there's no other option, you get too close, it snaps at you and then bites you. And I feel that that's what they're trying to do here. Is they're trying to put us in a position where they're trying to get us to lash out, and I feel that it's an excuse for them to be able to clamp down harder on us. I feel that it's really, really important as we're careful with the way, I had a guy last night talking in the group, and I'm like, dude, here comes another strike. It's like, we got to be careful with what we say because of this platform. This platform is not our friend. And I understand it's a very emotional type argument. An emotional type conversation. But if we put words on here and they have bots and algorithms that can track what we're saying, they can give us strikes, they can shut down the group, they can limit our ability to interact with one another, which I'm already seeing. Like I am so censored now, because of the new AI that they're using. They've upgraded their AI technology. And I saw something yesterday. I was doing some research, and I'm thinking about changing my profile picture, my cover photo, because they have AI technology that they're using now that if they notice an American flag or something like a patriot type stuff in your photos, they will automatically put you in it where you restrict your ability to communicate. And they're using technology, and this technology is moving faster and faster. And so I'm thinking of, changing my profile and all this stuff. That way I can get through these censorship things. So maybe something to think about in your own lives. Are you putting out stuff that you used to be able to get traction on that you're not anymore? Well, there's things that we can do to hopefully change that, so we're getting our messages out. And so, this stuff is it's changing so rapidly. And basically they're weaponizing this platform against us. And so, that's the scary part. And Jennifer, interesting. I'll have to check that out. And yeah, absolutely, Chris. 100%. I mean, they're not going to stop. They are not going to stop until we're disarmed, because that's when we're disarmed, that's when they can, obviously this is tinfoil hat stuff, but then they can put us on cattle cars. Then they can take us to re-education class, camps and all this other stuff for, re-education, right? Obviously this is all hypothetical, tongue in cheek. It's not going to happen right now. But the whole reason that prevents that from happening is our Second Amendment right to be able to defend ourselves. And they say a lot of bad things about the founding fathers. The founding fathers were very brilliant because they lived under tyranny. They knew what tyranny was. And so, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Ryan. No, we have a duty. We have a duty to protect ourselves and our families and to ensure the next generation, right? So, what are we doing? I'll ask you this question. What are we doing to reach the next generation? What are we doing to engage with younger voters that we need them on our side? Are we taking people to the range? Are we, sharing information that is going to be well received? Are we, what are we doing to grow our base? What are we doing? There's enough information out there in the public view, that none of these policies have ever worked and they never will work. So what are we doing to change the opinion of those that don't see things the way we do things? That's my question for you, is how, what can we do to make a change? And, we make a change by making sure that we stand up and we push back. And so Dwayne, 100%, then, what do we can do to change it? What do we can change it? Oh man. I mean, I do have that one photo. That I could totally change that with these red shirts. Remember that one? That would actually be really, really cool. And I'm sure I would go to the top of the list for them. And maybe that's what I should do. Wow. That's scary, Ryan. And the problem is because they don't know. And I think that's the one thing that I struggle with. And I know there's a lot of people just like me. I'm loud and I'm proud that I'm a gun owner. Like, that's part of my life. That's part of my livelihood. It's my way of life. It's a cultural thing for me. I've something I've been doing since I was 3 years old, and been shooting. And I've never hurt anybody. I try to be as law abiding as I possibly can. But I'm very vocal about my Second Amendment rights. I'm very outspoken about them in a way that I try not to push people away. But if somebody was going to, walk up to me on the street that nobody doesn't know me, and we engage in conversation, they would know very quickly about how I feel about firearms. And so, that's where I'm at. I absolutely 100% right here. This right here, when we're afraid to exercise a right, we lose that right. And right delayed is a right denied. And that's what's happening with Measure 114. Is they're going to say, "Oh yeah, we got this background, this great background check process. I just went through the test. Okay, I paid $60. I'm still not compliant to be able to get a permit to purchase. Okay, so I paid $60 and I still don't meet the requirements to be able to exercise a fundamental protected right that comes under the Constitution." Okay, that's a problem for me. And so that's where you're going to see many people that don't take the time to do the research on their own. They're just going to believe what they see on the media, what they saw on social media, and they're going to say, "Oh, it just must be too hard to buy a gun." That's why the background check queue is literally at 0 right now. So if you want to go buy a gun, you can go buy a gun right now, and you could take possession of it probably within an hour. Okay, and that was by design, because the Oregon State Police in the background check they deleted all the old 4473 forms. So if your 4473 form is over 30 days, okay, they're going to delete you from the system to free up the queue to make them look good when they're going into state court in Harney County. Okay. And so that's something to think about. And so, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors, all while they do not have a completed permit to purchase program ready to go. Okay. I just showed you an example of it. And I'm sorry if I confused some of you and said this is an infringement, because it is an infringement. And this thing hasn't gone into effect. Most likely, if I was a betting man, I would say this would not go into effect. I feel that it's going to obviously go to a higher court. It's going to be appealed when they lose, and that's what's in reality, that's what should happen with this. And I feel I feel that we have a judge over there in Harney County that understands the situation. I think he understands, and that's the difference between that Harney County judge and the judge that was in federal court that had no idea of what a firearm was and had no idea and took, the misconstrued gospel of these anti-gun, charlatans is what they are. They're all shills. They're getting, like, one guy got paid $40,000 to lie on the stand about his historical experience about firearms. 40,000 of your tax dollars. And so that's the problem. She didn't understand, but that's where she got her information. That's why she ruled the way she did. I feel that we're in a better position, with the state of affairs, with the way things are going when it comes to Measure 114. The state of Oregon still hasn't proven that they have a case to go, and so that's something that we have to be aware of. It's looking good. The only fear is maybe the magazine capacity, and there is severability there. Bingo. Trump is not your friend. Okay. So Trump is not a friend of gun owners. Okay. And so, I vote how you're going to vote. Okay. Do your research. Okay. Make sure that vote matters. Make sure that vote is for somebody that can win. Right. And so that's where it's really, really important. Yeah, Ryan, I get it, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm in that same boat. I'm in the fire ministry and the training, and it's so up and down, and it is a challenge. And this is not like what you're doing, Ryan. It's there. I think if you do it right, I think you could. You got to get into the right kind of niche. I think there is a market for your services, especially with what's happening. It is definitely going to be a challenge because people don't want to pay for that service, and they feel that, oh well, like I'll just do this and this and this, as opposed to making sure you know yeah, yeah. So no, and I'm not here to bag on Trump. I think there was a lot of good policies. I felt more secure under the Trump administration. I felt better. Obviously, he's not necessarily the most pro gun, but I felt like the borders were under control. I felt that the dollar was worth more. I can't say I necessarily felt safer. I feel safe all the time, because of my lifestyle and the way I always incorporate the gun. I think what I didn't feel safe about is the way how many people were unhinged about him and the way that they were rioting and they're burning. Like, that's the only part. And I don't blame Trump for that. I believe that there is darker forces at work there. I blame the city and state governments more than I would Trump in that situation. We're talking about the protests because they allowed it. That's absolutely 100%, Kyle. Yeah, absolutely. He did. I mean, that was the greatest thing that we got from him is the Supreme Court. And that's, I think, what's really, really important about this next election is we have to win again. Because, there's, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I mean, like, there's people. Is she still there? Or somebody else? Maybe it's not her. Maybe I'm misspeaking. But anyways, we have to protect those courts. And there's going to be a big talk about packing the courts because they don't have, they're so desperate to win that they will do anything. And so, yeah, 100%. And so, that's we need people that are going to go. We're going to need people that are going to go into office on the right, with the right plan, right? And be of the people, for the people. A guy that I follow on YouTube, the AK guy, so Brandon Herrera, he's running for Congress. It's kind of fun to watch. But he's trying to inspire others to get involved, and that's what we need. Is we need people that are going to step forward and say, hey, I'm not happy with the way things are going, and I want to step in, I want to help. And and yeah, her replacement's a liberal, and I think maybe she did die. I might have misspoken there, so I apologize for that. So, excuse me. So, other than that, how we doing? I hope the families are well. I hope we're enjoying the summer. I think we need to be ready though. I bet 100%, 100%. And that's what's funny about that, right? Is in the Constitution, right? It spells out equal and separate branches of government, right? And so they know that they're the weakest link that they have is the fact that they cannot do anything without it being reviewed at the Supreme Court level. So I find it kind of funny that they're going to try to change up the makeup of the Constitution that's going to be reviewed by people that are supposed to support and defend the Constitution, right? The judges, and so have you done any research on him? I've actually been doing a lot of deep dives on him, and I really like the way he understands the Constitution. I really, and so DeSantis. I don't want to make this political because people are going to get upset. My blood pressure going to go up. Like this is not about politics. Obviously, I'm not trying to influence anybody's decision. Just do your research. Okay. Don't follow along blindly. Think for yourself. See the big picture. Um, can you post links to support that? Please support links in here, because that's not what I'm seeing either. So, obviously there's a lot of people, that yeah, I would like all I would ask is just do some deep diving. There was a interview this week on the Sean Ryan podcast, and they did interview with Ramaswamy. You know, I liked the vibe. I liked the sense of unity. I liked all of that. I feel that would bring people from the middle, right? And let me give me 1 second. Hmm. I hadn't seen that one. Thanks for sharing it. Um, yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. I wasn't aware of that. I'll do some research on that. Is that enough for me to say no? I'm not going to vote for him. Probably not. I understand that. Nobody's perfect in this situation. Ultimately right here it comes down to this. Bottom line is we have to win. We have to win. We have to make this count. And the fact that I thought we had the last election in the bag, I really did. And the fact that we lost, that's a problem. I don't necessarily 100% trust the elections. And I think there's enough evidence out there to support my claim. It's just tough. And the way I look at it, because there's going to people that are going to say, "Oh, you shouldn't be looking into the election, yada yada yada." Prove it. Just prove it to us. If it was totally fair and a clean election, show us the information. And then we'll never talk about it again until you can prove it. Though, there's going to be questions, right? And I feel that we have the right to ask these questions. So, appointments. What do you mean, Dwayne? Yeah, I mean, yeah, Yeah, I don't think I see enough information because I don't get my stuff from one source. Like I get it from multiple sources, and then what I try to do is then I try to weave them together to figure out what the truth is. Right? There's his side, her side, and then there's the truth somewhere in the middle. Right? And so, are you talking about the judges? Absolutely. If you're talking about the judges, they are not elected; they are appointed, right? But the person that's going to do the appointing is the person that is the commander in chief. Okay, so that's why that position is going to be really, really important to win, and so that's my thing there. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny how she got away with it, and then they charged Trump with that? I just like the whole thing. I feel so bad for the man, right? Was it 91 charges? There's over 700 years in prison for something. All he ever tried to do was stand up for us. And I find it very suspect. And you know, I just it's I don't know. I think it's just they're so afraid of him. And yeah, absolutely. There's obviously there's a double standard, and it comes like we're looking at Hunter Biden. That's I'm super critical of Hunter Biden because of the fact that you and I, we would be held to a higher standard, and you and I would be arrested. You and I would go to jail, and this stuff just keeps coming up. Where like the my biggest complaint is the 4473 form, right? Because I think that's the most offensive for me because of being a gun guy. Like the fact that we have to fill out a 4473 form, that's already an infringement, right? The fact that you're going to lie on that and you get caught and then there's nothing to see, or you're not incarcerated, you're not charged with the crime. Yet if one of us did that, we would go to jail for it. That's the problem that I have with all of this. And so it's a mess, you know. Ultimately, I guess it's good to talk to everybody today. The goal today was just to kind of make sure that you guys know that I put in that post about the certificate. It's not the law, so I wanted to clear up any confusion. I was just doing that to work for this project that I'm working on. Yeah, it's all a mess. It's such a mess, and I think the most offensive part for me is the fact that none of this gets us closer to 9/12. And so, Kyle, I don't know if you're old enough to remember 9/12. I remember 9/12. I remember waking up with United We Stand, right? And yeah, I remember it didn't matter any political divide. No, we didn't care about race. We didn't care about color. We didn't care about sexual orientation. We woke up as Americans and we stood together and we came together because of that what happened. And so I remember that time. And so and I feel that it was a very, very important time. And I feel that and I think that how do we get back to that? I mean, are we too far gone? I like to think that we aren't too far gone because if we're too far gone, then we're closer to fighting. And and some say we are, and I'm not trying to say that we're closer to fighting, but I'm just trying to figure out how do we get back to 9/12. Absolutely. And you know, that was an awakening, and right now this should be an awakening for all of us, right? We're seeing that our everything's costing us more. We have people that are struggling to pay the bills. Our gas prices are through the roof. Our streets are filled with drugless, homeless, mentally ill people that are crapping on the streets. Our kids are being indoctrinated. Our all these things that are affecting us as a country, and we're not focused on the right things. We're not focused on we're focused on putting wedges and breaking and splitting us off into smaller groups, because we're in smaller groups, we're easier to control, right? And that's what they're trying to do. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I see this all the time. And it comes down to, is in that situation with that 4473 form, if they make a couple mistakes because they're not clear on the verbiage, some of these FFLs will deny them because they're concerned it could be a straw purchase. And so like it should be pretty clear, pretty specific on what you're going to be answering, yes or no. Okay. The last two questions that they add when it comes to the race and your alien status, right? Those are kind of confusing. And yeah, 100. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I feel, and I had a talk with my sister this on Friday, and she actually pulled my nephew out of the Portland Public Schools because of, and she is left of me, way left, like not in the same zip code left. And they just put their son in Catholic school, and I'm like, huh, okay, cool. And I was all for it, and so I feel I feel like that was a huge thing, because before, every time I talk to her, it's red band bad, and all this other stuff, right? But now it's starting to get closer to home, and it's that link is a Soros. Like, I'm all right. Here's the deal. We're not gonna come here, um, if you don't mind. Like, I want to clean this up. Like is that a trusted source? And it says Soros. Oh, it's the Hill. Yeah, please. That's like, that was not the point of this talk that we're having. I'm sorry that it's gotten this way. Um, you know, like, the whole point is, I'm not trying to, because we have enough time to make up our own minds. We don't need to start poisoning the well right now. I think it's still early in the game. We haven't even gone through the first debate. So that's where people have to do their own due diligence. They have to put in the work. They have to do the research. They have to be from trusted sources, right? When I see something from a Soros link, like, I'm going to take it with a grain of sand until I can vet that. So I don't want to make it about politics totally. I wanted, and back to Ryan's comment here. I mean, I think there's definitely strength in numbers, and that's why there's people that say they're going to leave and and leave the state, which, like, yeah, I'm sorry, Melissa, I'm not trying to be difficult here. I don't want to poison the well yet, I guess. Obviously, no matter what happens, whoever wins the primary, I'm going to support. Okay. I don't know what that looks like. Okay. That's what I'm concerned. I think what we did really poorly in the last election here in Oregon with Measure 114 and Kotek is we didn't get our way, and so we stayed home. I think that was the worst thing that we could have done. And we had 180,000 of us. Like, we would have a different governor. We wouldn't be in court. I wouldn't have all this stuff to talk about when it comes to Measure 114 if all of us would have showed up. And so that's where we have to do better at making sure that we get everybody involved. And I know there's people that say, oh, it doesn't matter, there's so much fraud, I'm just going to stay home. BS. If we show up and we do our job and we have good candidates and we vote, and there's enough of us that do it, we can outweigh the fraud. And that's what we have to do. Because if we don't, and then we just sit back and then we complain for the next 2 years about how we were robbed and how we never win. How do you say that we never win if you didn't show up? Okay. That's my thing. And I don't want to be totally a Debbie Downer here. I'm just you'll notice for me, I speak a lot from my heart, and I speak a lot from, and I get fired up. I get, teary eyed sometimes, but I speak from my heart, and I speak from a place where I'm hoping that I can rally people around what I'm saying. And, obviously I don't want to be the leader. I want you guys to have all the information. I started doing something yesterday. I wonder if I can do it. Maybe I'll do it for a different video. I started working with Chat GPT yesterday. And I don't know if anybody has any experience with AI yet. Holy crap. It was amazing. And so, like, I want to start teaching our people here, right, how we can use this technology. Because literally, I put in what I wanted to say. I said, write this in 1,000 words. I hit send, and this thing spit out 1,000 words. And it was almost like, it wasn't totally like 100% right, but I could get it to where I needed to be with just a little bit more practice, right? It's all about what the prompts that I put in there. And this could literally be a game changer. And if we could use this, I mean, we could be writing letters to the editor. We could be writing, different, all the emails that we put in, that we send into the legislature. We could all use this chat AI or this Chat GPT, and literally we could have everything that we need to say literally in seconds. And no, I've been super critical of AI, like super, because I'm scared that, like, the machines, right? But because of all the stuff that I've had to do all this research, because I'm being censored, right? So I've had to figure out, where are the holes, what's happening, how do I get through this firewall? And so I've had to, and that's where I went down this rabbit hole yesterday with the AI. And as much as I was like digging my heels in, like, it's literally amazing. And so what I want to do is we'll do some more, training on this is how we use it. And absolutely. that's what yeah, for sure. The T1000. That's what I'm afraid of, right? This the T1000. And but I just dated myself, but it's just fine. But that's I feel that if we embrace it and we use it to our advantage, it's going to help speed things up. What if I don't know. There's just opened so many doors. And so I'm going to start doing more research. I'm going to figure out how we do a class to kind of get everybody up to speed, and what I can do with this platform, which I'm not set up right now because my screen's different. I can actually share my screen. And so we could actually do these lessons together where I'm broadcasting these messages in the group so you guys can see it real time. Yeah, absolutely. The best generation ever, right? Or X. Yeah, we're X, excuse me. So, that's kind of the thing is using this to our advantage, and maybe we can help. You could use this. We can use it to help us win. Maybe we could, figure out a way to write all these emails in response to bad bills, right? Where we could say, write me 1,000 emails, right? This I'm just putting this out for conversation, right? So what if I said, write me, Chat GPT, write me 1,000 pro gun emails that are less than 300 words, and then it would spit it out, right? It would just literally, I could put that they're all different, right? And so it could literally spit out all these emails, right? And then I could just copy and paste and then put them into the system. So we could literally, like, our best, I think our best email campaign this year, we got, I think, 12 to 1,500 people that responded. Could you imagine if like 10 of us put 1,000 emails into the group that we can broadcast into Oldest? How devastating that could be. And so, I mean, we're talking like they can't stop it, right? It's technology. And so we just got to get smarter at it. And I'm going to get better at it. Like that, the part of what I'm doing is I get better at it. Like I'm learning so much. So what does that mean? Came out against it. So they're not going to enforce it. They're not going to fund the, like, is the county board of commissioners not going to fund the Klamath County Sheriff's Department? Because that would be a huge win. Because if they do not have the funding to implement, that could be a good thing for us. And maybe that's our move. And I know there's sheriffs, we got, Cody Bowen, we got Brad Lowry, maybe they can lean on their boards, their county commissioners. And maybe that's something that we could use to our advantage. And maybe so, lots to think about. Hey, Larry, how you doing, man? I hope all is well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm coming up on, I've talked a little bit too much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'm sorry to confuse you guys. I wasn't trying to do that. I had to do it for a project. Oh, nice. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying yourself. So, be careful up there. So, that's kind of where I'm at. So, but I'm going to get off here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm always available. I did have one guy respond about a lawsuit to 2005, so I'm going to follow up on that and see what that looks like and see what we can get started there. And obviously, we're prepping for trial next month, and so whoever can be there would be great. I'm going to be coming in Sunday night, and we'll be pulling out of there on Tuesday evening. And so, I hope to see everybody there. We're going to need to obviously take good notes, be able to get this information out to the group, kind of to know where we're at, and we'll go from there. But, I appreciate you guys tuning in. No, I appreciate you, Summer. And, I feel, once we get back in the swing of things, right, and we start doing these more often, we have good tasks. We have learning. Like the whole point of this is a learning experience for all of us, right? And I just want us to get better. I want us to win. I'm sick of losing. I'm sick of seeing these red shirts, man. So sick of it. We still do have that pack going. We haven't really done anything with that. I don't know what to do with that. I have it. It's legit. I just don't know what to do with it. And a lot of it is resources. We don't have a lot of resources, and so I don't know what to do there. But it's still there. It's still something that we can use as a tool. It just lot going on. So a meeting. No, not really a meeting. I'm working on a project. Okay. My project was I had to take this dang class, which I was trying to boycott. I took the class, had to pay $60. Now that I paid the $60, I am not. Oh, Larry, I'm coming in hot I'm going to be coming from Washington. So I'm not coming the normal way that I would be going. So that's going to be a challenge because I have to look at my route. I know it's going to be 5-hour drive from where I'm located on that Sunday. So we got to figure all that out. So I got a small window that I got to hit, and I just got to figure out how I got to figure out how I put everything together. So, but it's going to be there. I don't have an actual meeting. I just took the class. The class does not meet all of the requirements. So still, I'm going to have to go take the live fire training, which I'm an instructor, which is like, I got to go see one of their instructors to get certified, to get a permit to purchase, to be totally compliant, which I'm not going to do. I'm okay with guns. I made my decision. So that's kind of where I'm at. So, but it's just more of an annoyance than anything. So, all right. Well, you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll try to keep you guys updated. Stay positive. Okay. Have a good day. The end of the world is not near. We just gotta keep our heads up and put one foot in front of the other and just know that we are going to win in the end. Okay. That's what I'll leave you with, is we're going to win in the end. So, thank you. Thank you for your support. God bless everybody. And you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.